Rēkohu is the ancient name for these distant, mystical islands. It means the misty skies, and when you come here, you realise just how much of Rēkohu's past is shrouded in mist. Its past and its present. Everywhere is rich in wildlife and characters.
Oh, welcome to Waitangi, the CBD of Chatham Islands, Whakari Rēkohu.
Man, and you know everyone here?
Yep, I sure do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's your go-to coffee here?
Oh, so there's Waitangi Cafe's coffee there.
Yeah.
Waitangi Store, there's coffee there.
Yeah.
So Wednesdays everything's closed, so there's down the Norman Kirk, you can get lunch and coffee down there. That's our sports grounds.
How many people live on the island?
About 650.
Yeah, and do you all know each other?
Oh yes, yes, and a lot of us are related as well, so it's always interesting.
Yeah, so when we came here, I think everyone already knew who we were, so it must have gone around the island.
Yeah. There's no secrets on the island.
Everyone is up on everything here. Nothing stays secret for long. And last August, Rēkohu gave up one of the biggest secrets of them all. And it begins like this. A local crayfisherman and his son are out searching for wood on the coastline, and they come across what might be the most significant archaeological find in not just our history, but the history of the entire Pacific. They didn't know it at the time, but they do now, along with everyone else on the island.
I got sent a message by Vince saying that he'd found a waka at the far end of the island, and I quickly gave him a ring. And in all honesty, I was a bit of a sceptic, you know.
Yeah.
It's been several hundred years down the track, and I was excited for sure, but sceptical at the same time. But as things have unfolded, it's turned into this amazing kaupapa. Yeah.
The people on the island, they must be buzzing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the whole island's a buzz, and I guess the significance of this waka find is it's not really out there yet. It's one of 3 ever found ocean-going waka, and it's extremely well preserved.
They're only really early into the finding, so it could be massive, right?
Yeah, it could be massive. It could be massive. There could be more than one. Right now, they're just pulling pieces out of the ground. I think they're up to 400, nearly 400 pieces now. My wife's working alongside the conservators as a volunteer, and that just shows how excited the island is. People are giving their time.
Now, we don't know where it came from yet. Where do you think it came from?
Oh, look,
What are your beliefs, I guess?
I've genuinely got no idea. I mean, my people had been here for hundreds of years prior to anyone else arriving. They had to have got here somewhere. I'd like to believe that it is of Moriori origin, but where Moriori came from, there's varying histories.
Yeah.
We have oral histories that speak of waka that were wrecked, and I'm looking forward to the science telling us exactly where it came from.
The questions are inevitable, even if no one can give us a definitive answer yet. I travelled to the northern end of the island for the story of who discovered it and how, starting with 22-year-old Nico Dix.
And in August last year, you kind of spotted something around here.
Right where we're standing, I found a strange-looking stick, and that's about it. From then on, this.
Imagine if you didn't walk down that day.
Imagine if it was just washed down. Imagine if the creek just finished the job and took it down to the beach. I would have never known.
And when you found 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, what was going through your mind after that?
Then we were like, okay, something strange is going on here. This is all unusual timber. It's all very well made. It looked at the time brand new to me because it was so well preserved. We were like, sweet, some new timber for us to use.
Yeah.
Took it all home, started putting it together, just trying to find out what it's about. And we started putting it together, and we were like, hey, this is starting to form the shape of a boat.
Wow.
And then we came back down one more time after a big rain, and we found the headpiece. And that's when we knew, real deal waka we found.
A simple walk along the coast had gone from an ordinary to something extraordinary for Vince and Nico.
It was pretty much a normal day, really. Sort of just thought it was a bit of rubbish wood lying around, from sort of Chudley's era.
Yeah.
So we didn't really take much notice of it, but someone over here was pretty keen on coming back and having another look, so that's what we did.
What's the last few months been like for you both?
Chaos.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos.
Nico, you've been part of the digging crew. What's it been like for you working on the site?
Oh, it's been brilliant, but it is a very, very slow process. I've been enjoying it quite a lot. It's good fun, but there's a lot of sticks. This is years and years of digging up sticks, what it looks of what we've got so far.
Have you seen anything else in there other than sticks, like carvings or shells or rope, or what have you seen in there?
Well, the most unique carvings I've ever seen, we've still yet to find anything like the carvings we've found so far, and we've got engraved pieces of obsidian. We've also never seen them used like that before. So yeah, there's many, many firsts coming up with this waka.
What about you, Vince? What's stood out for you so far in this project?
I'd have to say the plaited braided rope.
Yeah.
To think that, you know, this could be quite an old waka and that this rope's actually survived. It's quite impressive. You know, it's sort of, and you can still see it. It's beautifully woven and braided, and it's quite amazing that something could last so long. You know, that for me is probably one of the coolest bits coming out. The dig side of it's been pretty amazing, actually. You know, sort of everyone getting down there, and sort of lots of volunteers, and you know, all the archaeologists, and it is literally watching kids at Christmas time. You know, there's the excitement down there. Some days it's pretty amazing.
And here it is, a site that's revealed treasure upon Polynesian treasure. The archaeologist leading the dig has been blown away.
So you've worked with Māori, you've worked in Polynesia, in Aotearoa, here. Have you ever seen a waka like this before?
No one's seen a waka like this before. No one. I've been really lucky over the years. I've worked some amazing places. I've worked in Micronesia, I've worked in Rapa Nui, I've worked in Hawaii, I've worked through New Zealand. This is the tops of it all. This is by far and away the most amazing excavation I've ever had the privilege to work on.
Okay, so Justin, what have we got here?
Okay, so all the rocks is actually the base of our excavation, and the waka largely seems to be on top of that. In the walls, you can still see parts of waka that we'll be leaving in place because we haven't got the time or to go any further back. And it gives you an idea of just how dense the waka itself is. This is a natural tree, but that tree is laying over the top of, and waka also over the top of it, and carries back into the bank as well. Wow. But essentially this whole area, the waka was like pickup sticks, and it was 5 layers deep. It was absolutely extraordinary. Yeah. From big wide planks to the tiniest little planks that we don't even know the purpose of yet. But what is consistent is throughout is that instead of one big tree carved into a waka, what we have is hundreds of pieces of timber that have been purposely shaped, and then the holes drilled through them, and then it's all lashed together and corked, and that's the form of the waka itself. So before we started this project, the holy grail would have been to find some of the sail or some of the twine that held things together, or some of the rope or the corking. We found all of that. It's completely blown our minds. And what we're doing right now is ensuring that from the lowest part of the cultural layer in which this waka sits, that we're recovering all of that material from what is probably only a small part of the site. So we've far exceeded our wildest imagination on what we're going to find.
What would it take to kind of determine the provenance of a waka like this?
The only provenance I can provide at this stage is from our very first trip out here 4 or 5 months ago, we took some small fragments of wood from the waka and identified them to species. And they turned out to be 3 trees from mainland New Zealand. So that's all we know at this stage. So the 3 trees are Pukatea, Tota and Rimu. Over the coming months, once again, we'll look at a far wider range, and for all we know, we'll see timbers from elsewhere as well. A boat is a living organism. Everywhere it goes, it gets repaired. So once again, it's another story that's yet to be told.
And obviously, it hasn't been carbon dated yet, but how old is this roughly? Like, can we rule out anything? Can we rule out 100 years, 200 years?
Everyone,
Is that the $1 million question? I'm not sure, yeah.
it's one of them.
Yeah.
Look, my gut feeling is this waka has great age. My job is to find appropriate dating material and test that theory, whether or not it's 100, 200, 500 or 700 years. And in the coming months, we'll discover that.
Away from the dig, conservationists are fully occupied with protecting and cataloguing the precious taonga as they are uncovered.
So these pieces, they come up from site and they're all covered in sand and peat and soil. So our job up here is to unwrap them as they come up, wash everything off, all the sand and muck, and then we've got to record everything, cross-reference it, and then bag it so it goes into the containers.
Has this been an exciting project to work on?
Absolutely. I feel so lucky to be a part of this. It's amazing, and there's been some amazing finds.
Inside the containers, exceptionally fragile pieces are stabilised in salt water.
Wow. This is a temporary solution, so this is just to buy us some time so that we can soon go through all of the material again.
So do you ever get attached to items, or, you know?
Yeah, you do. I mean, you do. And here it's just every day you find something new that has a different shape, or it can be large and impressive, or it can be really small and super detailed. So you do get really attached.
We've been calling it crocodile carvings because some of the first pieces we found looked like crocodiles, more or less. So from then on, all the pieces with these notching, we've been referring to as crocodile carvings.
Nico is no archaeologist, but he has become a super willing apprentice. He has dug out most of the waka remnants, and for a beginner, he's certainly across the subject.
These are all the pieces that I've collected with my father. Half of these pieces were just sticking out of the sand waiting to get picked up. The other half were already out of the sand waiting to get picked up.
What pieces do you like the most in here?
I think my favourite piece would probably be this one, actually.
Yeah.
It's not decorative of any kind, but this piece probably gives us one of the best images of the waka. So this would be the approximate width of the waka. Yeah. And we've got shorter and longer pieces, so it may even be longer yet. But we've only got a couple of them.
It's pretty cool, that one too, eh?
It is. So this one with the notching is actually one of the biggest mystery pieces, because it looks like it has a practical use, but we have no idea.
Wow, you can see the holes and the grooves, eh?
It is fascinating, isn't it? It almost looks like a handle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. Wow, solid.
So it's very, very different piece, and
What do you think it is?
we have no idea at all. We've never seen anything like it. This would be piece number one.
This is where it all started.
It is indeed. This was the first mystery piece, and I just thought it was a fence pattern of some kind.
Yeah.
But as you can see, it's definitely unusual, isn't it?
Yeah. I see.
But it's the next piece that Nico found that really gives us some clues.
Wow.
So we've got these awesome ridgings, and they've counted them, same amount of ridges on this side as the same on this side.
Really?
So this is intentional. There was something to do with this, and we've got possibly 10 semicircles on this, but we've got a fresh break on the top, so there could have been a lot more to this.
Wow.
And we've got an old break on the bottom.
Yeah. What do you think it is?
It looks like a turtle, doesn't it? But still not sure.
Yeah. Wow.
It would be awesome if we find the other half.
So much mystery surrounds the waka. Did it come from Aotearoa or beyond? Is it Māori or Moriori? Who can lay claim to it? For Moriori here on the island, there's already an enormous emotional attachment because it fits with their age-old stories.
Have you had any inklings of where you think you might have come from?
Yeah, I've got my own personal views on it.
What are those?
Right. Well, one thing, I'm of Ngāti Mutinga descent as well as Moriori descent, and looking at the history and that, and I've done quite a bit of research in it personally, and well, one thing I do know, Ngāti Mutinga arrived here on the Lord Rodney, and that is not the Lord Rodney.
Yeah, so that's 1835, 34?
Yeah, 1835.
So we rule that out?
Yep, so rule that out.
Yeah.
And then when you go look back in time, in history, there is written in old Moriori writings that a Moriori waka here was wrecked on the north coast there.
Yeah.
And that was waka called the Rangihoa.
Oh, wow.
And so I have in my possession a document that says exactly that. So, you know, I believe that it is a Moriori waka that's lying there.
Yeah.
And, but as people say, let the waka tell a story. And I'm kapai with that.
Maui Solomon is the chair of the Moriori Emi Settlement Trust.
And how often do you go fishing? Are you pretty much a man off the land now? Hunter-gatherer?
Yeah,
fisherman?
of necessity.
He's led treaty settlements on behalf of his people. He draws breath from this place, draws strength from its wairua, and for him, the discovery of the waka confirms all of that.
So the waka's been found on the coastline adjacent to Wharakoti Farm.
Yeah.
And that area is of, particular cultural, spiritual significance to Moriori. And in fact, as part of our treaty settlement, we were granted an exclusive statutory overlay over that area of coastline where the waka's been found, because there was a kāinga there. And in fact, according to Moriori tradition, one of our voyaging waka, the Rangihoa, was wrecked near that spot. And it might be that is the wreckage of the Rangihoa.
And with the Rangihoa waka, what were you told by your tipuna, I guess, in terms of like when it wrecked here? How many years ago were we talking?
Yeah, so according to the traditions which have been written down by Hirawana Tapu and the other elders, and they were published in Alexander Shand's book, The History of Moriori, and it was published in 1911. And it's recorded in there that the Rangimata and the Rangihoa voyaging waka arrived about 700 years ago. So that would have been 800 years, maybe 900 years ago now. And the Rangimata landed. It landed at Te Awa Pātiki, which is over here where the lagoon opens to the sea. But the Rangihoa is said to have been wrecked on the northern coastline because it wasn't fully completed when they left Hawaii, wherever that is in the Pacific, or could be, Aotearoa, we don't know. It was wrecked. There were only a handful of survivors, but the waka was never seen or heard of again. So this discovery aligns with that oral tradition that was being recorded by our ancestors, and I think that's pretty cool.
Much of the story has yet to be revealed, a bit like the story of Rēkohu itself. Plenty of mahi still being worked through before provenance of the waka is formally established. But already there are plenty of clues.
I think those who've visited the site and seen there is hit by some sort of emotion. We had an open day because it was considered a tapu site, so we did the karakia and the blessing, and we brought in, but the community also followed in behind us, and then they showed us in the container the pieces of wood and the course that bit of I think it's a bit of prau, and And someone said to me that they thought, oh, okay, and then they touched it and then something went in their heart and they just felt really tearful and somehow connected to this waka.
Yeah.
It's luck that, you know, it's obviously got buried straight away and preserved it. And it was just luck that it was washed out and we found it.
Have you guys been searching for anything else lately?
No,
We've
no,
been
definitely not.
turning a blind eye to things, random sticks sticking out. We're like, no, we don't want anything to do with that. We've got enough.
It's a genuine artefact that can genuinely tell us our origins. It excites me.
In some ways, I'm not surprised, but hugely astonished that this waka has revealed itself at this time. And I think it's a tohu from the karapuna. I think it's a sign from the karapuna.
In recent years, it is by far the most important discovery in New Zealand and possibly Polynesian archaeology. It will go down as one of the most important finds of all time in Polynesia. There's so much of it here. There's so much story to be told, and we haven't even scratched the surface yet. There's a lot of work to do.